GearNetwork.com.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. This is Get Ready America, and this is our pre-show. How's it going, Dawn?
It's great. Should it be like Cinco de Mayo, Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, no. We're going to open the show with...
No?
Maybe the Spanish version might end the show. I have a specific song for the open. It's from our friends, not our friends. They don't know us. We don't know them. But the band named War.
Oh, yeah. Those are my friends.
Cinco de Mayo. That's a jam. You know, back in the 70s, when you walked into a club, whatever clubs they had back then. I'm sure they have clubs.
Okay.
But if you were going to a club on Cinco de Mayo and they were playing that song, you were at a party.
I seriously doubt that.
Listen to me. I can say this.
What race? Because I seriously doubt anybody but a Spanish person was walking into the club thinking this is a party when they heard that back in the 70s.
Listen, War, okay, is from my favorite genre of funk.
Mm-hmm. What does that have to do with that? Anything?
You were talking about race, so I was thinking maybe they would be just at a club where universal race is. It's not just Spanish people that celebrate Cinco de Mayo. That would be just like saying...
So you think back in 1970, you walked into a disco club full of people and they were playing that song?
You get the right amount of alcohol in you.
You are so ridiculous. You know that didn't happen.
Do you think that in the 1970s that just Irish people celebrated St. Patrick's Day? Come on, why has it got to be a Spanish thing?
Do you even research these things, or you just spit it out as fact when it's absolutely ridiculous?
Okay, people who were around in the 1970s, please kindly tell me if it's...
Who was listening to a show that was around in the 1970s? Your dad?
Well, my mother listens to it too, apparently.
Oh, well, okay. So if she listens to it, she can tell us, did she ever walk into a club on Cinco de Mayo?
She's Spanish. It would be irrelevant. It would be to your point.
It would depend on which club she went to.
Get out of here with that.
Was she going to Spanish clubs, or was she going to, the disco? Was it
she's
the
afraid
discotheque?
Listen, she's afraid because of the news that you broke a couple of weeks ago that she listened to with the Indian woman peeing in the mother-in-law's tea.
She's been really, really nice to me since then.
Go get the mother some tea. Don't make it in the P. It's the letter T for tea, not P for P. Okay, this show, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
That really went downhill quick.
Shush. This podcast, as always, is sponsored by our Amazon page. Visit GearNetwork.com. That's GERE network.com. Click on the Amazon banner directly to the right. It's above the FanDuel banner and all the other ones that you should click on as well. But it is the fastest, easiest, and most awesome way of supporting our network and our podcasts, because you shop on Amazon anyways. You can get everything that you could possibly think of delivered right to your front door. And check it out. We can hook you up with a free 30-day trial of Amazon Prime. Just go click on the banner that says, click here for a free trial of Prime. That's it. Sign up. You're done. So, free 2-day shipping, right?
Right.
Access to thousands of movies and stuff. Amazon Prime is awesome.
Only thousands. That's all they have. Thousands of movies.
Hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands. Original series, too.
Really?
Yes. I can't name any of them because I don't have Prime myself. I have it through you. Mm-hmm. You could probably name them.
Oh, yes, because I watched them all. I know that they have a lot of PBS Kids. Does that help?
That's a good one. Word Girl's awesome. I joked with Gianna, and I don't know how she thought about this, but I told her that for Halloween she should be Word Girl and I could be Captain Huggy Face.
She wanted to be Word Girl last year for Halloween.
Yeah, but I didn't know the Huggy Face dance. I know the Huggy Face dance now. Bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 bum.
Can we wrap this up?
Bum 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 bum.
Go to a commercial or something.
Pre-show, Cinco de Mayo. Ba-da-da. Cue the music. This is a Gear Network production.
Coming to you live from the Gear Network studios in Rochester, New York, and broadcast worldwide on GearNetwork.com. This is Get Ready America.
From coast to coast, continent to continent, and border to border, from China, hello China, to Canada, and hey, also Japan, konnichiwa Japan, Thank you for tuning in like you did last week. We appreciate you. We appreciate all of you that tune in to Get Ready America right here on the Gear Radio Network. Hello, everyone. I am John Cimino, the JC to JCDC, and joining me, as always, my better half, Mrs. Dawn Cimino. Say hello, Dawn.
Hello.
And we plugged Amazon. Let's plug FanDuel. Your fantasy baseball team sucks. You know it. I know it. My fantasy baseball team really sucks. We started off real hot, and then I tuned off for a couple of days. The next thing you know, everybody's on the freaking DL, and I have nobody to pick from. I don't know what's going on, and then I kind of throw in the towel, and I don't want to do that 3 weeks into the season.
The good thing about fantasy baseball is it's seemingly never ending. You have every single day that you need to go in there, and it lasts forever.
But if you are not a 6-month kind of guy or gal, go to GearNetwork.com/FanDuel. You can sign up today for day-long fantasy baseball leagues. You buy in today, you win, you get paid today. Awesome. And it's a day long, so you don't have to do it every single day. No setting your lineups. You do daily drafts. And if you have people that don't play or are on the DL or whatever, you don't have to do the research. FanDuel does it for you. And also, they will match your first deposit up to $200. So they are essentially giving you free money to do your thing. I'm in a good mood. I'm sorry. Do your thing, you know. I got War and Cinco de Mayo playing in the background. It's like my two favorite things. It's like Spanish espantoso drinking and like funk music. I'm great.
I don't even know what you just said.
I said, I don't know. I'm just making things up as I go along. It's really a lot of the things I do and say, Dawn, are really reaction based for you.
Really?
Kind of like how
I never would have guessed.
Kind of like how your new segment is really, gives me a good reaction. I like to think that my verbiage, whether or not they're actually words, if I just throw them on you and to see the look on your face as you try to filter out what...
It's funny you say the look on my face, because I was actually just about to say if only they could actually see the look on my face instead of just the annoyance in my voice when you do those things.
I think, you know what? It's funny you say that, because I'm actually going to periodically record us on video and then post it on Gear Network.
I'm not sure that's going to happen. You'll have to wait and see.
Why not?
I did not approve any such thing.
It's not so much whether or not you approve it as much as how lazy I am.
Either one works.
That's true. All right, so fight of the century, Dawn.
Oh yeah, it was the fight of the century.
We were waiting for so long. Let me tell you, I was pretty frantic that morning, where I was like, I want to see this fight. We got to see this fight. Is there a way we can get this fight on Xbox and not having cable and all that? And it turned out that we didn't get it. Mm-hmm. And clearly we didn't miss a thing.
It really went exactly the way that I thought it was going to. Now, I was not at all surprised by how it went.
I think what gets me is the fact that this could have happened 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. They could have had the money that they have been flaunting, essentially, in everybody's face that they've made. I mean, Floyd Mayweather made $180 million on this fight. And then, of course, with the agreement, I mean, first of all, the whole thing was ass backwards to begin with. Because in order to have the fight, Manny Pacquiao had to agree to 7,000 different conditions from Floyd Mayweather, one of which including Money May gets the bigger payout than Manny Pacquiao. Now, Pacquiao still walked away with $120 million, but still, that was one of the conditions that he had to agree to, along with no rematches, and you have to wear the gloves that I select, and what was it, drug testing from my people or something like that. It was really just outrageous. Yeah, I
mean, why anybody even signs on to fight him? I mean, obviously for the money, and
that's pretty much what it is. And I'm not a Mayweather fan at all. I'm not. And I found him rather comical when he came in and WWE brought him in to work with the Big Show. I thought it was rather comical. But as a boxer, young Mayweather he fought a lot differently than he does now.
I understand why he fights in the style he does. I get it. it just makes for a really boring event, which is basically what boxing is now. And that's why boxing doesn't get the large amount of fan base that they had back in, what was it, early 2000s?
Yeah, I mean, even going back as far as the 90s, I mean, we used to, long before you and I got together, but I mean, you were obviously around for that. There used to be genuine excitement for boxing events, and this was almost on that. This was on that level. There was genuine excitement. It was like, boxing's back. This is what's going to save boxing or whatever. And then it just turned out not to be that way. And it was, I mean, I want to say a lot of it had to do with was probably the fans and their unrealistic expectations. Trying to hold on to the sport that, they grew up loving.
I mean, let's be realistic. Who wants to really see the fight go all the way to the end and come to a decision? Nobody wants to see that. It's not exciting. No. It's boring. That's just what it is. I mean, I get boxing is what boxing is, but boxing is boring.
Boxing, when I was growing up, I don't recall boxing being as bad.
It wasn't, because the fight itself was more exciting. Even when it went to a decision, they were still fighting the whole time. They weren't just running around the ring trying to avoid the fight the whole entire time. And
I was watching the Twitter as the fights were happening, and apparently the undercard matches were very good, and so that's probably why there was such a monumental crash when it came time for the actual fight, because you had 2 or 3 other fights in the undercard with a bunch of no-names that were really good, and that captivated the attention. Then you get to the big one, the big money fight, Mayweather and Pacquiao, and it just did not deliver. And, it's a shame. It really is a shame. As a guy who grew up, I mean, I remember watching all the the Tyson fights and then De La Hoya was big when he came out, and watching the De La Hoya fights, and that De La Hoya didn't mess around. You know what I mean? That's what made him so popular. And now you've just got this here, and I get the logic behind it. And Money May fans are going to be Money May fans and say, well, that's a smart fighter. That's a smart fighter. No, I mean, if I wanted to see that kind of fighting, I'd watch soccer.
I mean, yeah, back in those days you're talking about, that's when we got the fight every single time it was on. Right. We paid for it. But honestly, the first, and I'm sure that there were some before that, but the first that comes to mind to me that I felt was like a really boring fighter was Lennox Lewis. I hated watching Lennox Lewis box.
Yeah, I wasn't too big a fan of Lennox Lewis myself either.
And I think once he came on and he was big, that's kind of when my, I guess, appreciation, so to speak, of boxing really fell off. And then UFC, started becoming big for me.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a lot of the reason why UFC has become so popular recently. And by recently, I mean as much as the past 5 years. Because boxing had that base, and then they're losing them because of the current style of boxing. So they're going to MMA, which is much more faster paced, depending on who's in the octagon, and it's not quote unquote fake like professional wrestling. So it's that's just what's happening, and unfortunately, it's a sad truth. No matter whether or not you want to hear it out there, boxing is not what it used to be. I don't want to say it's dead, because I think it's going to be around in some way, shape, or form all the time, but in the same...
Right. I'm sure that there are people who are still fans of boxing and are appreciative of that style of boxing for what it is. I'm not one of them. But, that being said, even MMA has changed a lot over the years. It used to be they would get in there it was a serious fight going on in there. And, now it's like they stop the fight at the drop of a dime. So
you remember when I rented UFC 1? Just the original Ultimate Fighting Championships before they abbreviated it UFC. It was Ultimate Fighting Championships, and it seriously was like in this dingy arena, and for some reason they had Jim Brown, the pro football great, commentating there, and it was like just bare knuckles, like brawling, no rules. There was a guy that was just punching somebody right in the nuts, and there's one guy with the one boxing glove, He's a boxer, but he came in, was wearing one boxing glove, and he got the crap kicked out of him. I mean, that was the old style. But even nowadays, it's still violent, but it's much more controlled. Mm-hmm. But in the same, there's more action in the octagon now than there is in a boxing ring, mm-hmm. and that's just the way it works. And boxing just is not catching up with the times, or just doesn't care at this point. And that's sad because, you know, those of us, you know, there was a generation of us that grew up watching boxing as the big fights of boxing. There's just something about that.
I mean, I don't know if it's so much that it's not catching on. It's just you have a fighter like Mayweather. What are you going to do? Really, it's smart what he does because he wins the fights that way.
Right, it does. And not for nothing. I mean, there's been he's 49-0 now. And there are a handful of fighters that are very good fighters but a lot of them are bums that he fought. And it really is, he's a smart business. He can't read to save his ass, but he's a smart businessman. He knows how to make money. And I honestly think, considering some of the comments he made post match, where he stated he's thinking about vacating the titles so other boxers have a chance. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking his game was more or less, yeah, let's go out there, let's put on a show. They're going to pay to see me anyways. Here's your cut. Blah blah blah. I mean, I don't know. I hope that that's not the case, but that's kind of the feeling I get with that. I'm sorry. So, all right. Well, this segment went a little bit longer than I thought, which is good. It was healthy discussion. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about Alex Rodriguez's 660th home run. We got a couple of Yankees fans here, and I really want Dawn's opinion on it because I have my own, and I've heard through the talk radio and through, other Yankees fans on Twitter or whatever, how they feel about it. Have you, as a Yankees fan, have you as a baseball fan, have you forgiven Alex Rodriguez? Has Dawn forgiven Alex Rodriguez? Have I forgiven him? You'll find out right after this.
You're listening to Get Ready America on the Gear Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Perez here, telling you about FanDuel's one-day fantasy baseball leagues. Every day you pick the player you want, you can pick a whole team, and play for real money against other users. FanDuel has over 20,000 one-day leagues, so joining in is never an issue. Also, there's no daily commitment, so you play whenever you want. The best part? Over $2 million in prizes every single day. And if you sign up through GearNetwork.com/FanDuel, you help support the network and keep this podcast free.
An iPad Bluetooth keyboard case, a phone case, an Xbox One plug-and-play charger, and a watch for the missus. Those are just a few things that I've purchased since January, since the year turned 2015, through Gear Network's Amazon page, and I invite you and everybody you know and love to join us in purchasing through GearNetwork.com/Amazon. Right now, everything from spring cleanup to summer fun is available through our Amazon store. You also can get free 2-day shipping with Amazon Prime. I'm a member and you could be too, free for 30 days when you go through our link at GearNetwork.com. Prime membership not only offers you access to free 2-day shipping, but the instant streaming of thousands of movies and TV shows with new exclusives being added all the time, as well as early access to lightning deals on Amazon. And right now, if you upgrade to the new Samsung Galaxy S6 or S6 Edge through our Amazon page, you will receive $30 in paid apps absolutely free. That's right. You pay nothing else. You get $30 of free paid apps. Imagine the fun you can have with that. Help support this and every other podcast on our network and help yourselves to savings by having your purchases delivered right to your front door by shopping Amazon via GearNetwork.com.
From the Gear Network studios, once again, here's John and Dawn.
Welcome back to Get Ready America, everybody. Before we go ahead and get talking on the 660th home run of Alex Rodriguez, I'm sorry, Dawn. I gotta open up the drawer and pull something out from the days of the JC Money days, if you will. And it's not going to be wrestling involved, but it's going to be a shooting range here, so to speak. I'm going to shoot off the hip on a little something here that really pissed me off. If you don't mind, you feel free to jump in if you want. I read a story about a new challenge that's going around social media. Last year was the Ice Bucket Challenge. It was fun. It was to raise awareness for ALS. And people film themselves dumping an ice bucket over themselves, whatever. Fun. It was on social media, caught waves a lot. Everybody was doing it. It was great. It was wonderful. So 2015 rolls around, though, and I'm reading that there's another challenge that's out on social media. And it is called the Eric Shepherd Challenge.
Okay.
And what this Eric Shepherd Challenge is, it's a challenge to stomp on the American flag, chanting "F*** yo flag," along with various anti-American, anti-white, or social justice phrases.
And this is Americans?
This is Americans. It is according to this article I have here, it's a new challenge popular among some black students. And it says the challenge is to honor Eric Shepherd, a member of the racist New Black Panther Party who describes himself as a terror against white people. He's a black college student wanted in Georgia after his gun was found on campus during a series of protests. Evidently, Shepherd was one of the organizers of the protest. He went missing last week after campus police found his backpack unattended on campus with his gun inside. He's at large. The FBI does consider him armed and dangerous. But instead of calling for the racist criminal Shepherd to turn himself in, hundreds of black students have been hashtagging, quote, hashtag Eric Shepherd Challenge and have uploaded photos and videos of people stepping on the American flag. Now, it was brought to my attention on Saturday when I saw it on my wall. J.P. Black, you know who J.P. Black is? Mm-hmm. Western New York. Actually, it's just an independent wrestler all around. And a guy I respect in more ways than one, not just for the wrestling aspect of it, but for the fact that he served his country. And he's a proud server of his country. And he's absolutely disgusted with it. And I took a look at it, and my blood was boiling. It was these two African-American women with the fist up, stepping on the American flag.
I guess I don't understand the challenge. I don't understand why would you go against America? Well, you're American.
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is
like white people are the only ones that you're disrespecting because you're stepping on the flag? No,
right,
you're disrespecting all of America, black, white, every single race there is.
Everybody that is here in this country doing what they do, living the proverbial American dream. And I got news for you. This is not a politic-based opinion that I'm saying here. I'm independent, but I lean to the left. Okay? Case in point, Perez is independent. He leans to the right. We go back and forth or whatever. This is not a political debate. This is quite frankly a pissed off American at this point.
How many African Americans have laid down their life, put their life on the line, died serving their country, and you're disrespecting them
exactly.
as well. I don't even understand that.
Exactly. It really grinds my gears to think that stupidity runs this large in this country at this day and age when there is an information super overload out there. If you're uninformed, there are avenues for you to take to get informed on certain things. And instead, the people that cry out racism the most are the ones that are committing the worst offense of it.
Right.
Stepping on the American flag and saying, Eric Shepherd Challenge. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Of course, I'll censor it because it's not Get Ready America Uncensored, but you, Eric Shepherd. Seriously. You and all your fucking people that are out there doing this shit. Because I'll tell you what, you think that you're bringing any sort of awareness, you think you're bringing, people are going to look at you and be like, wow, those are some educated people doing really smart, awesome things. I got news for you. You look like a bunch of fucking morons out there. You look exactly the way that you are described by the people you claim describe you. I'm sorry, my blood is boiling. My stepfather retired from the Army 6 years ago. All right, my stepbrother currently serves. I have friends that currently serve or formerly served. Dan Germain, for example, you see him commenting on my stuff all the time. He's doing it while he's serving, you know. And I know some of the stories that they go through. I've heard some of the stories they've lost a friend or they disabled, and what do every single one of those guys say? I wouldn't trade it in for the world. This is my country. They're out there serving. They're allowing people like me and you and all of you that are listening to do what we do, whether it's podcast, whether it's work, whether it's take your kids to a baseball game, whether it's professional wrestling, acting, anything like that. They're serving so you can do that. They're serving so you fucking idiots can step on the flag and act like you're something special.
And if they hate the flag, if they hate the United States so much, why are they here? Just leave.
Simply put.
You can't go to Canada. You can't go to Europe. Get the out.
It's exactly what it is. I will tell you this, Eric Shepherd Challenge, and all you fucking morons that are out there doing the Eric Shepherd Challenge, simply put, get the out of my country. I don't want you here. My listeners in America that don't want you here. We don't want you here. You don't want to be here? Get the out. One-way ticket. Go back to wherever the you came from. That's it. And now I'm going to calm down. And this commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little more useless facts. Ooh, I'm boiling. You Eric Shepherd Challenge. We'll be right back. GERENetwork.com. Also, iTunes. Search Gear Network. GERE Network. And subscribe. Looking for us on social networking? Look no further. Twitter, Gear Network. Instagram, Gear Network. We are not just posting pictures of food and selfies, by the way. It's actually good stuff on Instagram. Facebook.com/Gear Network. iHeartRadio, search Gear Network. Spreaker.com/Gear Network. And, of course, GearNetwork.com. Cruising right along, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Whew, I've calmed down. Thank you, Dawn, for letting me vent. Thank you, listeners, for letting me vent. All right, so back on the original topic, what we were going to talk about before I decided that I felt inclined. And, again, I'm American. Name this show Get Ready America. We're American. We're proud of it. So, but moving on to America's pastime, baseball. Alex Rodriguez came in this past Friday, pinch hit as a pinch hitter. Not a good pinch hitter. Hits his 660th career home run and ties Willie Mays. The media, the fans, they seem to be a little indifferent about it. Like ESPN, I think, wants to glorify the coverage, but they can't. Like, there's just not that historical, yeah, let's hug him, let's get behind this guy and root for him type feeling. Now, on the flip side, it seems that Yankees fans are, because he's playing well, because they have won 10 out of the past 12 and are far exceeding expectations to start the season than they were going into it. Yankees fans seem to be getting behind Alex Rodriguez. Now, I ask you as a Yankees fan, I'll ask you first before I share my opinion, your take, number one, Dawn, on the 660th home run. Did you get that big, warm, fuzzy feeling? Number two is how, knowing the situation that they're in, you're in a game with the heated Red Sox. It is tied 2-2. Alex Rodriguez comes in, hits a home run to put the Yankees ahead. In the same home run, breaks that record. Do you cheer because the Yankees are ahead? Or do you boo? Or what do you like?
Well, I always cheer when the Yankees are ahead, regardless of who put them ahead. That's my team, so I want them to win, regardless of who's on their team winning. I mean, they've had other players that I really had no respect for as well, but they're on the team. Now, as a player, I'm not, out there rooting him on, but, if he scores for my team, he scores for my team. I'll take it. Mm-hmm. So as far as that goes, then yeah, I'm still going to cheer. I think
it's one of those things for me where I kind of do half cheer, half boo. Where it's like, yes, all right, we got the run. Alex Rodriguez hit the ball.
You know, here's the thing with that. I don't respect Alex Rodriguez. I think the guy is a total douchebag.
He is.
And I thought he was a total douchebag before this all happened. I've never liked Alex Rodriguez. He's my least favorite Yankees player. I really just have never liked him. Mm-hmm. That being said, everybody's kind of talking about this asterisk that's on his home runs because of the substance abuse, right?
They've been saying that for years.
But here's the thing. So many players also broke the policy. The thing is that in that time, so many players did that.
Right.
So you don't know all the players who were doing that.
Right.
And a lot of them were doing that right alongside him. So I can't take away from the fact that he still hit that many home runs. I mean, he still did that. Does it deserve an asterisk? Probably, just because of the way things have evolved, and it is what it is. But don't take away from him that he was a great baseball player, because there were people right alongside him doing the same thing, not hitting at the same caliber he was.
Right. You know, here's the thing with the asterisk. The whole asterisk thing, I think, is stupid. I get it. And the asterisk predates the steroid stuff. It was when Roger Maris passed Babe Ruth's record for single-season home runs at 61. The reason why the asterisk was put next to the 61 was because at the time that Babe Ruth set the original record, there were, I think, 20 or 30 less games that were being played by the time Maris broke the record. So that's where the asterisk came from. But now when you're talking about putting an asterisk on, let's just say, Bonds' home run record of 762 and you know, Alex Rodriguez, anything he's done, Roger Clemens' 300 and something wins, you know, put an asterisk on that. At what point do you stop putting the asterisks on things? Because if you start putting asterisks on wins and home runs and RBIs and this, that, and the other thing, well then, you know, what's to say, hey, you know, somebody back in the freaking 30s or 40s was putting pine tar on the ball.
Or we need an asterisk because we use different bats now than they used back then.
Exactly. So you're never, baseball fans, you talk about the asterisk. There should be an asterisk on there. You don't want that, trust me.
The sport has evolved, and what people did then, they're not allowed to do now. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm not going to say all of them did it back then. But I would go on a limb and say the majority of them probably didn't.
Right. I'm sure there are baseball Hall of Famers currently sitting.
Unless you could actually say 100% these players did it and these players didn't, and be able to compare them side by side that way, which you cannot, obviously, then you can't do that, because he was playing at a time where the majority of players were doing that. So
now, I think the big thing about Alex Rodriguez is the fact that not only did he lie about it repeatedly, he threw Selena something from Sports Illustrated, the reporter that originally broke it. He threw her under the bus. She came out saying that he was named on a report. A couple of days later, he went on Katie Couric and was like completely threw her under the bus. And then he urinated on his cousin's wall.
Okay.
You know, things like that. He's just a douchebag. Right,
but again, then you're going back to talking about his character and a respect level for him versus his 660 home run. You know what I mean? Like, these are two different things you're talking about.
Here's the thing. Do you think that regardless of whether or not it was culture, taking steroids during the era of baseball in which he was brought up with, which he broke into the major leagues in 1994, so it's been 21 years. But regardless of that, do you think that he would have hit 660 home runs anyways? I showed you his first at-bat and how lanky he was. All right. Do you think he would have hit 660 home runs?
Probably not, no.
He
probably would not have. But a lot of other players wouldn't have got the things that they've gotten that they still have in their record books either without it. So unless you're going to take it away from everybody from that time, you can't take it away from him. I also don't think that some of the players would have been able to get the hits they did if they were using the bats that they used way back then or had less games. That's just to your point. When do you stop and say, baseball is what it is. It evolves, so you have to respect whatever baseball was in that particular time period. So I don't like Alex Rodriguez. I think he has no character, no morals. He deserves no respect. I hate him. I can't stand him. I can't wait for him to not be a Yankee anymore. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that he still deserves to be credited for his home runs.
So you still think the 660 is an accomplishment one way or the other?
I do, because again, that's just the era of baseball that he was playing in, and I don't think you can take that away from him when that's just what it was. He wasn't breaking policy back then.
Right.
So his character, sure, we can talk about that all day long, but I don't think it takes away from what he does.
Right. Now, I agree with you, and to your point, it was, what it was. We weren't breaking policy. He was busted again recently, which was why he had that 1 year suspension last year. So at that point in time, he did break policy that time. Once it became policy. But you're right. For the previous set, it shouldn't have been. I think it's an accomplishment only because of the longevity. He had to have done some taking care of himself because steroids typically break people down at a younger age. He's pushing 40. He's obviously taken care of himself and not abused it. You know what I mean? So I'll give him props for that, for the longevity and for being able to do it. But man, yeah, the character part of it really, it's kind of like when Bonds broke Hank Aaron's record. Like nobody wanted Barry Bonds to break the record because Barry Bonds was not only, but Bonds was a different case because he was at the twilight of his career, and then he all of a sudden came into the next training camp jacked.
Exactly.
And went from hitting 30 home runs to hitting 72 home runs.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wish that Rodriguez wasn't at this point to be able to reach this milestone because I don't think he as a person deserves it. But if you take away his name and everything you know about, him being a person, then I do think he still deserves it. And they actually were talking about his home run ball. A Red Sox fan caught it.
Yes, I saw the highlight where the Red Sox fan caught it and was booing it, and somebody else was like, throw it back on the field, and he was like, no. He shook his head no.
Yeah, he kept it. He's debating on what to do with it at this point. But they started talking about the value of the ball and saying how it was going to be, in their opinion, much less than, what was the last big milestone? Was it the 70 home runs and I can't remember.
The last big milestone? I mean, for the Yankees, it was Jeter's 3,000.
For Alex Rodriguez.
Alex Rodriguez?
Well, whatever his last one.
600.
It was 600?
It was 600, and that was a couple of years ago.
500. No, I'm sorry. It was his 500. They were talking about the value of that ball and how it was like, I don't know, $100-something thousand for the ball. And now they're saying they think this one will only be around $50,000. I'm not sure I agree with that. I understand what they're saying because he's such a hated player, but I almost think because he's such a hated player that it causes such controversy and brings such attention to it that it actually would be a valuable ball, at least down the road. I mean, this is still a big part of history that's going to be talked about by baseball fans for,
ever.
The duration. Exactly. I mean, this is huge. So I'm not so sure that I agree that this ball is not going to hold value. If anything, I think it's going to end up holding more value.
I did hear on the radio today that they approached the person who had the ball. And, because typically what happens is if a fan catches a historic ball in the stands, they'll track the fan down, get them, bring them in, introduce them to the player and whatever to so the player can have the ball. What do you want? Autograph, picture, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Evidently, the guy said he wanted David Ortiz's autograph in order to give Alex Rodriguez the ball.
Really? That must have changed because the article I saw was 2 days ago. And he said, I'm just holding out on it. I need to sleep on it.
I heard it today on the radio. I heard it today on ESPN on my way home, is that he wanted David Ortiz autograph.
I think I would need like an autograph on like one of his home run balls.
Yeah.
Or, something more significant than just...
I don't know. Something like that. I guess never being in that position, I don't really know what I'd do. I'd probably just give it to him. I
can't see that I would just give it to him.
Well,
the ball's still worth money, so if you want to give me the $50,000 that they say it's worth, I might consider giving it to you. But I don't like you. I'm surely not handing over the ball to you. If it was Jeter, I would give him the ball. I
would probably be like, yeah, here you go.
I would just exactly.
Can you sign this one that I just bought at the store at the team store? There you go. All right, let's use station identification real quick, and then we'll come with some useless facts. This is the Gear Radio Network. GearNetwork.com. And we're back, and Dawn, are you ready?
I am.
All right, let's cue your wonderful, wonderful little music here. Useless facts, take it away.
Since we were talking about baseball, did you know that the average lifespan of a Major League Baseball is 7 pitches? That's all a ball gets on average, is 7 pitches.
Really?
Well, according to this, I don't...
Yeah, I could see it. They certainly have a lot, the umpires have a lot of balls.
They do. And here's a fact that I think very, very, very few people know. Mm-hmm. And fewer have actually been able to put it to the test. Sex burns 360 calories per hour. So if you can have sex for a full hour, then you can burn 360 calories.
Now that's amazing.
It is.
If you have an erection longer than 2 hours, though, you need to see a doctor.
Only if you're on medication.
Oh, only if you're on medication. There you go.
So, yeah.
Get off that blue diamond.
Okay.
Note, I said blue diamond, not blue waffle.
Yeah, which is exactly, of course, where my mind...
You, Xavier Fate, you bastard. Happy birthday.
Did you know... Oh, it's his birthday?
May the 4th be with you.
Oh. Did you know 1/4 of the bones in your body are in your feet? So maybe that is why some people are so attracted to the feet.
Oh, God.
Yeah?
I just... My lips started quivering as soon as you said feet, because subconsciously I'm like, she's going to foot fetish. She's going straight to somebody being attracted to... No, maybe she's not. Yeah, you do.
Here's something I don't...
Hey, Eric, get your friend on the horn again. I'm going to bring you, since you're not going to North Kakalaki, I'm bringing you back on the podcast one of these weeks, and we got to get your friend back on the phone. Maybe I'll get Perez here, too, so Perez can bombard him with questions. I can just imagine the two of you and Perez, asking this foot fetish guy questions would probably double the amount of hits that your interview alone gave him. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's fine. This is your segment, so... Take it away.
I was putting you over.
Did you know a whale's penis is called a dork? No?
Oh.
Yeah. So you're totally a dork.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But when I hear our kids call each other dorks, now I'm gonna laugh because I'm thinking they're calling each other whale penises.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Do you think that that's why they started calling people dorks? I'm going to have to look into that one further.
Well, dork is a 4-letter D word that's close enough to dick. Maybe.
Did you know reindeer like to eat bananas?
No.
Yeah, apparently they do. So, every year we leave carrots for Santa's reindeer, mm-hmm. But apparently we should be leaving bananas. So you explain that to our kids.
I have... I can't math, but I have a few months to think about it.
And your stomach has to produce a new layer of mucus every 2 weeks, otherwise it would digest itself.
Okay.
Interesting facts, right?
That is very interesting. My stomach is producing something, but it's not mucus.
And the last one I'll give you, and this kind of goes along with the calories burned.
Calories, okay. Right.
A pig's orgasm lasts 30 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
So if a pig's orgasm lasts 30 minutes, how many calories do you think they burn if they have sex for an hour?
Not a lot, because pigs are still freaking huge. Like fat.
But they're just fat. I mean, pigs are just fat. I don't think there could be a skinny pig.
Yes, there can be a skinny pig.
I don't think so.
You've made mention on her a few times on this podcast. You also reference how she had a blue waffle.
That may or may not be true. That's all I got for random facts today.
All right, then. And you have news as well?
I do have some news.
Okay, let's go to a commercial break. We'll come back with the news, and then we'll wrap it up here on Get Ready America on the Gear Radio Network.
You're listening to Get Ready America on the Gear Radio Network.
I say you're so beautiful.
Hey, Gear listeners, are you looking for some new music? This month's Song of the Month is You're So Beautiful, from the soundtrack to one of my favorite new shows, the hit Fox TV show Empire. You can purchase this song on Amazon MP3 or iTunes for $1.29, or purchase the full deluxe album for just $13.99 by visiting GearNetwork.com/Song of the Month and selecting the link. This is an easy way to support our network, and as always, your support goes a long way in keeping all of our podcasts free.
Give the world a show.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I am Ryan Wolf,
it's Mr. Perez.
and I have a question for you, Perez.
What's your question?
Do you like to listen to people talk about sports?
No. Of course I like sports and listening to people talk about sports.
Well, guess what? I have the perfect solution for
You
you.
have a solution for me?
There's a podcast
Okay.
on this very network.
This network?
Every single week you can hear it.
Really?
New content, latest and breaking news. We talk about baseball, football, hockey, basketball, soccer, UFC, whatever you want to talk about.
So sports in general.
They talk about sports in general. You got
Okay.
it.
I like
you
it.
know the dictionary.
I like
very,
it.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
I must say, tune in. We are better live than dead
You're not.
every single week. You're not going to want to miss it exclusively here on the Gear Radio Network.
Hey, Dawn, how's it going?
Living the dream. I'm actually just getting ready to do this commercial.
Oh, you mean the commercial where I tell our listeners to tune into Gear Network every week to listen to our show, Get Ready America? That one?
Yeah, John, that's the one.
They can also listen to us talk about news, sports, whatever's on our minds. That,
And a little of what's on our listeners' minds, but they're just too nice to say it.
well, that, Dawn, is a real humdinger. Come join us this and every week for Get Ready America exclusively on the Gear Radio Network.
And the Gear Network app.
From the Gear Network studios, once again, here's John and Dawn.
Welcome back to Get Ready America, everybody. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about the fight earlier. Breaking news from the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. Seems to happen every time we podcast. Manny Pacquiao to undergo shoulder surgery for, quote, a significant tear in his right rotator cuff. He is out for 9 to 12 months.
Oh.
Sorry, boxing fans, you're not getting Manny and Floyd or Pacquiao Mayweather 2 before Mayweather's contract with Showtime
Yeah,
Boxing
either way.
expires. Either way, whatever. Last segment, here we go. Dawn's news we may or may not be able to use. Take it away, please.
Yeah, I actually came across this story about a woman in Indonesia who killed her 9-year-old son, drowned him in the bathtub, then dressed him in clothes, laid him in the bed, walked to the police station, and confessed her crime. The reason why she killed her 9-year-old son is apparently because she felt that his penis was too small and that he would have trouble later in life because of it. Seriously?
And
What is wrong with people? Because his penis was too small, and that somehow is such a concern for you?
that is the perfect example of people that shouldn't have kids. I mean,
You
just
think?
is people that shouldn't even be alive.
It's just insane to me.
That's insane.
And they said she seemed perfectly, fine. Like, no, not like she was having any kind of like a mental break. Like she was totally aware of what she was doing. She absolutely felt like she was doing the best thing for this child. Like, that is how f***ed up some people's minds are.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I really don't. That's disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there was in Wisconsin, there was actually a shooting yesterday, and it's just really sad. And I hate to do sad news, but, sometimes I need to talk about this because it just baffles me that these things happen.
Well, we create awareness too, not just to sex toys, but,
So a family, and of course many others, were out hiking in a park area. They were on a trail, and a man with 2 handguns just opened fire on the bridge, a footbridge on the trail, shot a father, his 11-year-old daughter, both dead. The mother has 3, I believe, bullet wounds, underwent surgery, is in critical condition. She was able, though, to save her 2 younger children who had to witness their mother, father, and sister be shot by this guy, and he shot one other person, apparently over being upset about a breakup or something was what they believe it is, and he is also dead. I mean,
so he took his own life too.
He did take his own life, but he completely
an asshole.
Right.
The coward's way out. Coward's way out.
I mean, I'm not saying it's okay if you go shoot an adult, because it's not, obviously.
No, it's not okay
but
at all.
I mean, a child, an innocent little child, like, what goes through your mind to want to shoot an 11-year-old child?
I can't imagine that no piece of poo-tang pie was worth going out, losing your shit, and killing a kid.
Right. I mean, you're talking about a whole family just out enjoying the nice weather together. I don't know.
That's disgusting.
It's absolutely crazy.
I'm in a little bit of a bitter mode here because of the earlier segment. People like you make me sick. You really do. You don't deserve life. You don't deserve, and that's probably why you took your own life, and that's good, because the world could do better with less of you, and unfortunately, a kid was sacrificed. We could have done better with more of them. But basically, people like you mental rejects, you assholes. There was
actually a really sad situation on the baseball fields this weekend, right?
Oh, God.
I mean,
I said this to you privately. I say this to you openly. It is a small miracle that I was not there when that situation happened. Because if I was there, and I'm not saying this to sound like a tough guy, I'm saying this because I legitimately would have had to have been pried off of this guy that did. I'll let you tell the story, but I will say this. I would have had to have been pried off the guy. I would have been slapped in handcuffs, and you would have been doing this podcast by yourself today. Because I'm that passionate about that. Go ahead and take. It's.
Yeah. Let me first say, at this baseball field, there's 7 fields, I think, that they rotate. Field 2 is the field that my older son was playing on earlier in the day. Mm-hmm. So, my daughter, my younger son, his half-sister, a bunch of other little kids were all playing in this little area that they have next to the diamond, because there's a lot of room in between. The kids run around all the time. There's concession stands. There's always kids running all over. Little kids, brothers, sisters, obviously. So they were right there running back and forth, playing all day during his game. Mm-hmm. My younger son's game comes, and he's on another field. We are in a hurry because I'm trying to get to my niece's first communion and nephew's birthday combined parties. And we're already running late, so I grab my older son, and we're trying to get out of there. And we start walking towards the exit, which we have to go by field 2. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking to my kids, and, I'm holding my daughter's hand, and we're just walking, and I see these little kids playing in the same exact area that my daughter was playing in earlier, along with my son and some others. Mm-hmm. There's a little boy who's I would say about 3 because he's definitely, a little smaller than my daughter's. Probably about 3. 2 other little kids similar age, between 3 and 5, all playing right there. Not running around like crazy, just in a really small area that they're playing.
Right.
Well, they have these carts that they're always driving around in, and this guy comes flying by, and I actually had said to the guy earlier, yelled out to him earlier when he flew by, you're going to hit somebody, you need to slow down. Guy comes flying by, not paying attention, looking over towards the field instead of where he's driving, and we all see it, me and 2 other people happen to see it, but, obviously not with enough time to react, so we start yelling. 2 little kids are able to get by. 1 little girl just barely gets out of the way, but a little boy didn't even see it coming and gets hit by this guy driving the little cart around. Full speed. Guy didn't even try to stop, had no idea, did not even try to stop until after he hit this kid. I mean, this kid's body folded up underneath it, and it was the saddest thing to see in front of my eyes. I mean, I've seen accidents and things like that, but to see a little boy get hit like that, I mean, I cannot even tell you how upset I was by it. And obviously accidents happen. My big problem with this is, well, obviously, I told the guy earlier he was going to hit somebody, and another lady said when he hit the person, she's like, oh my God, I told you earlier you needed to slow down because you were going to hit somebody. So I wasn't the only one who even said it to him. And what this guy says, it wasn't my fault. This kid ran in the way. I couldn't stop. Really?
Right there, when you told me that would have been straight up. Ball up the fist, reach way back, and I would have cold cocked him right in the jaw.
Not to mention, we're all running up to the cart. Somebody grabs the little kid out from the cart. Somebody goes to get his mom. Somebody goes to get, somebody who works there. I'm calling the ambulance. We're all doing things to try to help this little boy, and he's just sitting on the cart. Didn't even get off to try to help the boy. Never got up to go see if the little boy was okay. Nothing. I don't understand it. You hit somebody. How do you not go see if the kid's okay?
First of all, I can't imagine ever being in that position with that. You know what? I take that back. There was a somewhat relatable story. I was pulling out of my old job many years ago. It's probably about 10 or 11 years ago at this point. And it was kind of a hard to see area. And just as the traffic had cleared and I went to go make the turn, a kid rode by on her bike. And I wasn't going full speed or anything, but as I started, I hit the front wheel. The kid fell down. The bike went out in the street. Without even thinking, I pull, put the car in park. I get out. I run over to the person, because it's just a human thing. It's a human thing that you do, and clearly it was an accident. I was shaken up. I was so shaken up. I was so the kid got up. I'm okay. And I'm like, no. I called the ambulance myself. I got the bike out of the street. It was bent. I paid for it to get fixed. I called the ambulance just so that they could check on her right there. Gave the kid the phone to call her parents and everything like that. So it was horrible. It was horrible as far as I think the parents were fortunately, I should say, I think the parents of the kids felt worse for me because I felt so bad. And I remember trying to go to wrestling practice that day, and I just couldn't. My mind was gone. And Tiger looked at me and was like, dude, just go, get out of here. It's one of those things that you can't help it.
Right. It should just be instinctual.
It should be right.
You shouldn't even think anything of it. I mean, yeah. Even my 11-year-old son who was with me, and unfortunately both my 4-year-old daughter and my 11-year-old son saw the whole thing too. So, of course, I'm having to answer questions from my 4-year-old about this, but that's a whole nother... My 11-year-old son, who saw it happen, stops, goes over, to the little boy to just kind of see if he's okay, sees that he's conscious, and he looks at me and he says, Mom, the guy, and I won't name names, the guy who runs the place was down at the field Marcus was playing on. I'm going to go get him. So he runs down and finds the guy and tracks him down so that he can come, obviously. But, that's just the way people work. Even at 11 years old, he's just doing things that need to be done. But how do you just sit there?
The fact that guy tried to pin the blame on a 3-year-old. And I had seen this particular behavior from the grounds crew there driving really fast. That one Thursday, we were playing a Thursday game, and I looked at but it was a teenager that was driving it, and I looked at him real sharp when he kind of whipped around the corner, and then I didn't see him again after that.
Really, when it comes down to it, they shouldn't be whipping around on those things at all while games are going on.
No, not at all.
It's so unnecessary. If they need to drive them, they should be driving way outside, because I understand they empty garbage, they go check out the games, things like that. There should never be teenagers driving them.
Right.
They should only have certain people allowed to drive them, and they should be driving at a reasonable speed.
Right. If you're gonna drive through there, drive slow, real slow, and hey guys, how's everybody doing? Be personable.
Which is what the guy who runs the place does.
Right.
You never see him speeding around on them.
Right. You drive slow, reasonable. Hey kids, how you doing? Hey, how's everybody going? And then you create that awareness that once you see hey, move, hey, Mr. So-and-so's coming through, wave, hi, it just, I don't know.
It's just,
seems to be a
have
lost
to take
art.
responsibility. That's really what it comes down to, is people cannot take responsibility for their actions.
Nobody
anymore.
takes responsibility
You need
anymore.
to take responsibility. Everybody makes mistakes, some bigger than others, but you still have to take responsibility for it. And this man was, probably into his 70s at least,
and why,
by the looks of him. And still can't take responsibility.
Depending on who you are at that age, you shouldn't even be driving anyways.
Yeah, that's a whole nother debate.
Yeah,
So.
that's all right.
All right, so, that's kind of my, sad news rant. The little boy was okay, by the way.
Thank God.
I'm going to end the news segment just on a different note.
A much more positive, I hope.
Ryan actually sent me this story
Okay.
last week, because usually we do our shows on Saturdays. That's when we tape our shows.
It's going to be very difficult to do that this summer, I'll tell you that.
But
with the aforementioned baseball.
But we did it Friday night instead. So when he sent it, we had just got done with the podcast. So it had to stay for this week.
Okay.
But I did not forget, and I thank you, Ryan. So a woman who posted an ad on Craigslist under the casual encounters section,
Oh, boy.
Right. They both were looking for sex, her and this other man.
Okay.
Okay. This 34-year-old woman actually was arrested for killing the man for having too big of a penis.
What? Come on.
So,
Wait a minute. So these two Craigslisters meet up, start to get, hibbity dibbity, hibbity dibbity, hibbity. Whoa, wait a minute.
Dibbity. I'm never sleeping with you again.
They start to get the hibbity dibbity going on, and they look, and she sees this man's junk, and apparently it's so big. So clearly the guy wasn't Asian, but it was so big that she killed him?
Okay. Well, I didn't say all that. Now you're just making up your own story of series of events.
I like to spin it in my own way.
What happened is they met up.
Okay.
They had sex, but apparently he was so big that he caused her pain in her cervix.
Oh, so...
The pain led her to seek attention at a nearby hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So then she was upset over the pain that he caused her and her fear that she would now no longer be able to have kids because of this pain.
Okay.
She's British. I don't know. So she went and tracked the guy down and asked him to pay her medical expenses. Apparently he refused.
Geez, there's a shock.
But she didn't stop there.
Oh, no?
Don't refuse her. She drove to his house with a gun where she reportedly shot him 3 times, killing him. And she claims still that his large penis damaged her cervix, causing her to fear that she'd not be able to have children in the future. So therefore, she was totally justified.
So she shot and killed the guy, and now is probably going to be going to prison for life,
I would think.
where she's not going to be having kids.
Correct.
Idiot.
Yes. And the damage to her cervix has not actually been proven to this point.
So it's all in her head.
Well, it doesn't mean she made it up. It just hasn't actually come out yet. So there's no fact behind that as of yet.
And
but either way, I mean, really, do you think that that's actually the motive, or was there some other reason? I can't imagine.
I don't know. Where did that story take place?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just say Britain. Thank you, Britain. Cue the music. Well, this podcast went a little longer than I thought it was going to go. We just get to good, healthy talking, and we get and magic happens. So I apologize for those that may have heard the rant earlier on about the patriotic rant, if you will,
Or any of the other.
or any of the other rants. But that's what this is all about. This is our forum. This is our forum to kind of to do this and entertain everybody at the same time. And you know what? I am damn proud to be American. I am damn proud of the men and women that serve this country. Thank you to all of you who are listening. If you're listening now while you are serving, God bless you. Get home safe and get in contact with me, and I'll interview you. So, yeah, don't step on our flag. But
Yeah.
all right. Dawn, thank you very much, as always, for your contributions.
Thank you, Canada.
Thank you, Canada. Hello, China. Hello, Japan. Konnichiwa. This is a copyrighted podcast of the Gear Radio Networks, and any rebroadcast or reproduction without the express written permission of the Gear Radio Networks is strictly prohibited. Thank you, listeners, for listening to us every week. Thank you for listening to Better Live Than Dead. And on a personal note, thank you all for listening to the Talking Wrestling special last week. It was wildly popular, and who'd have thunk it? Talking about a dead promotion, 5 years that's been gone out of business for 5 years, would attract so many people from the world of professional wrestling to listen. Because I mean, Next Era Wrestling killed itself. If you didn't listen to it, you should go and listen to it anyways. But that was the end result. So, thank you all for all your listening, for shopping through Amazon and supporting us. So long, everybody.
Good night now.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.